Hey, you guys, and welcome back. My name is Jasmine. So, today we have another really special guest. You guys know that over like a year ago, I started this series where I like to bring on just different Latinas and people that are doing like really cool stuff in their community. So, today we have Natalia, and we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Let her introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Natalia. I am currently an esthetician. I've been an esthetician for 5 years now, and I got my license in 2019. I had my business now, the Phoenix Skin Sanctuary, since 2021. I started it in my mom's house, and then I got a studio, but then I ended up losing my studios. So now I'm currently home based.
You're not from Arizona, right?
No, I was born in Wisconsin, but I moved here when I was 5 months old. So.
And then didn't you like live in Cali, or you have family there?
No. I have family in Cali. I lived in Wisconsin for like 2 years, like in 6th and 7th grade, but then I came back.
Oh, okay. And then you've been in Arizona since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of just know Arizona mostly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, one of my questions is like, how did you get into like skin and cosmetology?
It was funny because like I just remember I was like 17, 18, and I remember I was like trying to go to college, but I just like was trying to go for business, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I was failing school, so I was like, maybe this isn't for me. So I don't know. One day, like I swear, I was like scrolling on Instagram, and I was like, think I seen a facial video, and I was like, what is that? I didn't know what that esthetician was. I didn't know what that was. So I was like, oh, let me like Google that, and I was like, maybe I should do that. So then I just felt like, yeah, like God gave me a sign to do that, and I was like, so then ever since then, when I started doing it, I just kind of like stuck to it.
Did you ever get a facial before you became an esthetician?
No, I never knew what that was. Like,
Oh yeah,
I didn't, like I knew like the spas at the hotels and stuff, but I just never knew like that was a profession before.
Yeah. Well, I asked because I had my first facial, I think, when I was like 18 or 19. So, yeah, it's like sometimes you don't know a lot about it, that you don't even know what to expect. But going into that, like, I know you went to school for cosmetology for a little bit.
Just esthetician.
Oh, yes. Being an esthetician.
Yeah. So that when you go to school for that, it's like 600 hours.
Yeah.
But I feel like you learn like basically how to do the state board and stuff. And then from there, like, you kind of have to continue your education because...
Like continuously.
Yeah, because if not, sense. Like there's always new things coming out. The skincare thing is always changing no matter what. Yeah. There's always new things coming out. So yeah, you kind of have to just like keep refreshing and updating yourself. So it feels like you always learn no matter what.
I was gonna say, so did you finally decide in high school that you wanted to be an esthetician, or like when?
No, in high school.
I know we kind of skipped around.
In high school, dude. No, dude, in high school. Dude, I wasn't even thinking, like, I remember senior year, I was in this, like, AVID program. I dropped out of it because I was like, I'm not going to college. Like, I just, like, I'm not going to do the 4 years at a university because for what? I was like, to me, I was like, it's like, at the time, I was like, oh, it's like a waste of money because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So when I got out of high school, I was like, oh, I'll just go to school and get, like, a 2-year degree for business. But then... when I became an esthetician, I was like, oh, there was a moment when I was like, oh, let me try to be a nurse. Like, I wanted to go to nursing school. So I started kind of like picking up some classes for nursing. But honestly, like, I feel like I'm not good at school. Like, and at the time too, I just couldn't do school and life at the same time. So I was like, you know what, like, yeah, I dropped out. And so I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So it was weird because, like, I don't know, once I got that, like, idea to, like, go be an esthetician school, and I went to esthetician school, and it was cool because when I went, like, we would just do facials all the time, like, me and this girl, like, we would have bookwork and stuff, but me and this girl that was in my class, her name's Angelique, she's so funny, we would, like, just give each other facials all the time, like, no matter what, so we just practice and do that on each other all the time, because it's, like, free skincare at school. But
So after you went through the program, like how did you decide that you wanted to, because I know we're kind of skipping around, but how did you even decide that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Because I know you kind of went through some experience before that, right?
Well, dude, I was probably like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like probably at the lowest for sure. In a toxic relationship, left that, and then I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was working for a lash studio, and it's like a big franchise one. And I just remember when I was working there, like they were treating me so crazy, like it was just bad.
Yeah.
But I'm the type of person, like if I have a job, that's my job, so I just would like take it and just let them, like, because in the beauty industry, I feel like especially when you're starting out, they take advantage of you all the time because they know like you want to get better, they know you want to get clients, they know you want to make money, things like that. But yeah, I would say like it's crazy. I remember the exact moment. I remember I got out of work, and I say that it was like they treated me some way because I remember when I got out of that shift, I was like mad because like of how things were. And I just remember I was praying. I was like, God, I don't know what to do. Like, if this is even for me, like, let me know. And I just remember like I just got the like feeling, and I was like, dang, like I should start a business or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, and honestly too, at that point, like I just felt like I had nothing else to do like with my life. I was like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was gonna happen next. I didn't know nothing about it. So I was like, what do I have, left to try? Like I was like, I feel like God blessed me with like, being able to help people in that kind of way when it comes to beauty. So I was just like, okay, like let me see what happens.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like I was like, because at that time I was working as a full-time job. I had a full-time job, so I was like, oh, let me just like get the money from my full-time and use that to fund, working in a studio. And it was funny because I remember I went on Craigslist and I was like, let me just try to find a studio. And dude, someone had one for $500.
Craigslist be having some good stuff on
Yes,
there. Yeah.
dude. So
My mom used to use it a lot back in the day.
yeah,
So
so I was like, I just found it, and it was like probably the like best time ever. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best. Like, it was so cool. So like,
Yeah.
it was weird too though, because it's funny you asked me that when I like was like, oh, I'm gonna become an entrepreneur. I honestly like I honestly did not consider myself that until this year because like,
Really?
yeah, because I don't know. I was like, oh, I'm just trying to do like facials and skincare and lashes, and sometimes those things don't really get looked at being entrepreneurial, like entrepreneurship.
Really? You think
Yeah,
so?
because like,
Yeah.
well, especially when you tell people that like aren't like girls or not in the beauty industry and stuff, like those. Dude, like I have family that will literally tell me like, oh, you do nails? Like, no, I don't do nothing close to nails. And so things like that, and it's just like, then I like realized like, oh no, like I literally have a whole like business. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that is what an entrepreneur is. Because I thought you had to go to school to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know that.
No. Yeah, and I think sometimes like people's experience with it is so different because you're saying that you thought you had to go to school for it, but I grew up like watching it because my dad owned a Mexican restaurant for years, so it's funny because I always say like I would never become an entrepreneur. And then funny enough, when I was in college and I got laid off, I was like, I could go work for somebody else or already make graphics and videos that people are asking me for and turn it into a business. So I think like you, sometimes we don't even realize that the skills that we are doing are entrepreneurial because nobody really teaches us to like look at it that way. And not to use like our culture all the time to like explain why we don't know things, but I think that is like a big part of it where like I feel like entrepreneurship is in our blood, but we just don't name it that. Like, because I just remember like in Mexico, like my tío has like a store, and it's like so many people have like these small businesses, but we just don't name it. And I think sometimes even with our family, we have to treat it serious for them to really think of it as something serious, because if not, like you said, people don't understand it, and sometimes they do downplay it. But you really have to like stand up for yourself and show up for yourself every day and realize that it is like something serious, not just a hobby. And sometimes we have to like train ourselves to believe that in order for other people to believe it.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that because honestly, like before I got here too, I was thinking like, because I think I seen a video on TikTok or something, and it was saying like, Oh man, I like literally lost the thought because I know like everything's
You're
on
good.
me. But basically, what I was going to say though is that like you don't really know how much you really want it until like you're broke or until you have nothing, you know, and all you have left to offer is like what you do and how you help people. So it's kind of crazy, like when it comes to that too, because nowadays I feel like, especially like on social media and stuff, like they portray a lot of things of like a quick hustle and like, oh, like let me start my business and so I could just get a bunch of money. Like if that's the motive, it doesn't
It's
always
not gonna
work that
last.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and maybe it can blow up, you know, but long term wise, who knows?
Yeah. No, I think honestly like that's been like the biggest fluff that I've had to like learn to like ignore in the 5 years of entrepreneurship, where there's always going to be somebody telling you can do this better, you can make this amount of money in 24 hours or this, and it's like sometimes the same thing that we always talk about like during our sessions, like we always talk about how like you really have to ignore all the noise and just have like tunnel vision and just focus on your business. And it's funny that you said like sometimes you do have to go broke, because I feel like in those moments you realize, would I want to go back and work for somebody else and do the same thing all over again, or am I going to keep continuing to believe in my dream and my you know, the thing that I want? And I think sometimes it like those moments are hard because it's like we're all trying to make money and we're all trying to like, oh, we need money, but at the end of the day, it's like it is a risk and it is a sacrifice for you to say, you know what, like I want to go after my dreams and what I want.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why we're here, because we're still here and we keep pushing every day. But
yeah,
I was gonna say, how long have you been in business for now?
I think, well, like it's going to be like 4 years coming.
4
up.
years.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, what's been, I guess, the biggest thing that you've learned on your journey?
Honestly, that I'm like, not to sound corny or nothing, but just like seriously, like if I did not base my business on God, the foundation I have is like not even existent. Like it's crazy because before that, I had like when I lost my 2 studios, right? And I was trying to do everything like in my control, things like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just so crazy because I feel like in our culture, like it's like hustle and you have to hustle to get basically the things you need and stuff. But it's like, what happens when you burn out? You know, like what happens? Because everybody experiences burnout no matter what. And especially like, doesn't matter how you get back up from the burnout. But I just like realized that like basically staying still and like letting God do what it is for him to do. Like, oh, it changed like my whole business. It was insane. Like, and that was probably like in the last 6 months since I left my job at the dispensary.
Yeah.
And like just was like, okay, well, I just have my business. Like, what can I do with this?
Yeah.
And so it just really like shows that like, to me, it really showed that like, you know, God's real and God's definitely like the foundation of my business. And that's like a lot of what like I try to reflect it off of, like, you know, the Bible. Because like in that way, like, well, for me, like when I said like I found my business, like I feel like that was God meeting me at that time and gave me the business. And then I was like, well, like, I'm still doing this and I'm like feeling like I'm losing everything with the business. Like, why do I have this business still, you know? But then it was like, till then, like, everything like showed me. It was crazy. Like, everything changed. Like, seriously, it was so crazy. I was like, I just wish sometimes like I could take my eyeballs and like put it on the screen, because I was just like, it was insane, like so serious. Like this is how crazy the transition was. Like before, I would say like my first 3 years of trying to be like doing entrepreneurship, like with my business in the beauty industry and stuff, like I had my facials priced at like $115, and I was literally always doing promos and discounts. Or trying to like get customers to come in, because I was like, hey, like just come get a facial with me, this and that.
Yeah.
But like the pricing on the menu says $115, but you see like all the people I had to try to like come attract and come to see me, because like sometimes that's the other thing where, especially like after you get out of like school, they're like, oh, charge what you're worth. But how are you supposed to make your worth when you just like graduated school? Like there's no like, you know, weight behind it. And
when there's like no proof, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that is the difference, where like to your point, like you can't really charge something like if you haven't really done it before, but once you do know your worth, it's like stay there.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you said that. It's like you do need some of that proof, but at the same time, you know.
Yeah, and it's crazy because now, like, with my business now that, like, you know, God's my foundation, it's just, I always get, like, different walks of life, and now it's, like, business is so, like, smooth where, like, someone comes to me and it's not, like, I have to try to upsell them or be like, oh, you need to see me because, you know, it's just so natural and just so, like, genuine. Like, oh, they're coming because they need help with their skin and I can help you with your skin.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy because it's so much, like, I don't know if you ever feel like sometimes in business, like you feel that weird energy where it has to be like manipulative or it has to be like, I have to try to persuade this person to come purchase this from me or like, why am I sticking out? But the whole time, like the people who are meant for you will come. So it's insane, like how you see a difference of it.
Even like a year ago when I was going through like this rebranding of like, why am I showing up like in business? And it wasn't like a really like a rebranding, but like you said, you just have that feeling of like, you're going to get burned out and the same thing won't always work and you have to work smarter. And I think that that is the hard part sometimes because it's like, how do you even know how to work smarter if you haven't even worked? So I think like there's a different chapter in your life for, you know, a different lesson. And so that's why I always say, you have to be careful what you're listening to because sometimes feedback or like advice won't apply to you because you're not in that chapter. But even like a year ago, I had to sit down with myself and ask myself, like, why am I even showing up? Like, why am I selling? If I'm going to be selling to someone, I want to be selling to them in a way where I'm actually helping them and why do they want to show up on social media? So I think to your point, like you have to have like a why and a reason of why you're even showing up in your business or why you keep having faith in the things that you do. And like you said, for you it was getting closer to God, but for me it was also getting closer to God, like more through like reading the Bible and stuff like that. And it just shows you so many things about yourself, but also like at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is as long as your family is good, as long as you have faith, and as long as like you're doing what you're supposed to, I feel like you're gonna see results over time. And I know sometimes that's hard when you're like you're waiting and waiting, but yeah, I love that you said that it starts with having faith and having like a why of why you're even showing up.
Yeah, no, it's so real because I'm not even gonna lie, like when I started like, okay, it was so weird. Like when I left that job in August, like in October, I was like, oh, let me like, I don't know why I was like, because I was like, you know, you get in a position where you feel all this pressure and all this weight and you're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, like, let me just lock in on the Bible. It was so weird. It was so crazy how things happen. I swear timing is so crazy. But I was like locking in and I just started reading every day. And I'll just start my morning like that every day, just trying to be like still, like in stillness and just like try to calm down like the noise, you know, because I feel like every time, like, well, sometimes for me, like when I wake up, I want to do something right away. Like I'll jump up and just like I start wanting to do 1,000 things at once, or like your mind is just racing or your mind's heavy. And I was like, it was weird. I think I saw a video and they were talking about like how like reading the Bible can help with your nervous system. So I was like, oh, let me try that and see if that's like real, you know, like let me see if that's actually real. And it was crazy because I started doing it and oh my gosh, dude, I'm not gonna lie, it changed my life. Seriously, like the way I'd run my business, like the way I just like, and it's crazy because I would never expect to like say those things or think that my business would like, I would see the difference with and without it. But it's just insane that like,
Well, sometimes it's like I feel like it's like the things that you can't really like teach or like you can't like how do I say it? Like you can't like show somebody. Like you have to like read it for your own.
Yeah, you have to have your own experience because that's what I realized too. At the end of the day, like we all have our own relationship. We all have our own journey, own walks, own things we get convicted of. Like, and it's insane because it's like, I don't know, it makes you think like this world is way bigger than what we think it is and how much like things actually matter.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like in a way it almost like teaches you to be like selfless and selfish at the same time, if that makes sense, because I think sometimes we focus so much on like the wrong things in terms of like you said, like we want like that dopamine effect of like we want like the quick results on social media, we want the quick money or we want this and that, and we forget that like things do take time, and it also takes time through like consistency of habit. Like if you're just wanting something, but then you're not being consistent with your habits of, reaching out to people or marketing your business, or like you said, being in your Bible, then you can't get the results that you didn't work for. So I think at the end of the day, it comes down to like being consistent in what you're doing, even though you might not see any results for some time. And I think that's hard for some people.
Yeah.
But that's why you have to keep showing up for yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. Dude, consistency is so hard for me. I'm not even gonna lie. Like that was like my hardest
like in
thing.
what way?
Oh, dude, like there's like.
Because there's so many like different like aspects.
Yeah, like well, example, like when it comes to like business tasks and stuff, like, or just like, I don't know, because in life too, I swear, I was like thinking. So I used to think like I feel like sometimes, especially like when we're in like our like. Basically, your nervous system stays in fight or flight. What is it? Fight or flight. Yes, fight or flight. Because you know how, like, we're so busy. We have to work to survive, pay money, all these things. So you never really rest. They try to keep us so busy. And then there's all this, like, noise and distraction 24/7. So it's, like, low-key, like, sometimes, like, I don't know, like, sometimes it is, like, if we really want it, yeah, like, we got to get consistent. You got to make those changes. But sometimes, too, like, I feel like sometimes it's sad because like there's a lot of people that are just so like hurt and or so like distracted, or like life is so hard that you just rather be distracted, because I feel like there's a time for real when I was like, oh, it's easier to just be distracted and it's easier to just numb myself and not care, and just go through the motions every day because life gets so crazy. You get to a point where you just think that. So like it's like, well, my point is kind of like saying it's like the consistency will come when like you learn to be patient with yourself. Because dude, I was beating myself up all the time. Like, why can't I do normal things? Why can't I be consistent? Why can't I sit down and like work on something for an hour or 2 hours? Like I'd be like so upset about it. But then I realized like now that I'm like, oh, I don't get upset with myself. Like I just try to like focus on the task in front of me. Oh, and like went from like thinking like, oh, the task is gonna take me a week or so many hours to like, oh, let me just see what I could get done today. And it's crazy how like your mind is like your own enemy sometimes when it comes to those things. Like,
one of the things I wanted you to talk about was that you said that you worked at another was it like another spa or another?
Yeah, so I worked at a skincare studio before, and then a lash studio, and then I worked for like 2 different small businesses with lashes and facials.
And I don't know if you want to include this in this video, but I wanted you to share a little bit about like what did you like notice between like working on our skin as Latinas versus like other types of skin, because I think that was so important, and you even educated me in something that I didn't know about. Yeah.
So it depends, because honestly, like with all the skin types, you have because you have Latinos, but there's different shades of Latinos. So, like, seriously, like, I've had Latinos with, like, whiter skin, and they have, like, more, like, brighter, like blue eyes, things like that. So, for, like, that skin type, it's different because the way that it, like, scars is more red, and the way that it heals, it's more sensitive, depending on, like, the person and stuff. But with darker, like Fitzpatrick's, like in like Latina skin, could be like Fitzpatrick 4 to 5, sometimes even 6. It just pigments different. So like it's crazy because I think like definitely the ethnicity matters in skincare, because sometimes I've had like let's say someone that was with white skin that comes in. But they were Irish, so their skin is different, even though they're Irish, like they're gonna have more like their Fitzpatrick is more like a 1 or like sometimes a 2 a little bit, but their skin is gonna be more sensitive in the way that you treat it. And then you can have someone with like whiter skin and be from like Italian background, and then they pigment with brown, like they pigment with like dark spots, like brown spots. So it's crazy because you just don't really know until you see the skin. That's why it's kind of hard, because you can have like, because there's just all, and then even people who are mixed with more than one thing, like it's crazy how it can show up so differently.
How often would you recommend someone to get facials?
Honestly, I would say monthly, because your skin cycle is from 28 days. So The most success I've seen in my cases have been from monthly facials.
Mm-hmm.
Depending though, let's say if someone has more of like a severe skin condition and their barriers compromised and they have like severe acne, then I would recommend them to do a bi-weekly program, which is every 2 weeks, and then they can transition to monthly. Because with monthly facials, the reason too is like I've seen a lot too, like home care does go a long way, but it's more of like if you're trying to maintain a kind of result or kind of like you want to maintain your skin being glowy, healthy, like life happens a lot in those 30 days, you know? So that's kind of why it's important to add that on top of home care, because sometimes like home care does work and it does do the things that it needs to, but sometimes you just need that extra exfoliation or that extra step. Let's say like example, like some client studies that I see, like their skin is really stressed and they that month they're stressed, so they might break out more, or let's say like the next month their skin is doing good, they're less stressed. So it kind of just depends, but yeah, I would say monthly facials are like the most effective thing that I've seen, and bi-weekly appointments too.
Well, for someone that doesn't know anything about skincare, like what would you recommend is like the most basic things that someone needs in their routine?
Okay, yeah, you just need honestly that if you're not looking for like any skin correction and you have like a normal skin type, I would definitely say though, if you want a basic, a cleanser, moisturizer, SPF every day, especially in Arizona because the sun. But I've noticed a lot that I've been adding for my clients toners, because Arizona's already really dry, so a lot of people have dry skin, and what happens too, since it's so dry, naturally, like it's called tool transepidermal water loss. It affects like the amount of water that stays in your skin. So a lot of clients I've seen is that they can have a moisturizer, cleanser, SPF, but sometimes in Arizona, especially during like these times of the winter, you might need like a little extra moisture, like either a serum or a toner. So if you just need something basic though and just want to barely start, yeah, the 3. But if you really want to see some results from like helping the dryness, I would add in a serum and a toner.
Okay. You want to share anything else with the audience, like about your business or like something about skincare you're like, they really, really need to know this?
I'll just say, when it comes to skincare, just listen to your own skin and don't try to follow other people's routines, because sometimes they might not work for you. And especially like online too, seriously.
Or
like,
TikTok. I was gonna say
like
that.
on TikTok, no, seriously, like it gets me so sad when like people, because they're so stressed and you just want to try anything. So I understand too. It's not no one's fault either, but just kind of do your research before just believing anything and seeing the person's skin type too, because I've seen videos they use filters and I didn't even know that on the skin, like when they're taking the videos.
Like estheticians?
Not estheticians, but like, you know,
like
when people do the advice on skincare.
Oh,
and they use filters like after to see their skin, and you think that's the result.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know that.
I was like, wow. But,
wow.
So
I mean, there's fake accounts on that are made by AI now. So like nothing surprising.
Dude,
now.
there's like bots in the comments. And sometimes I read the comments and then I'll be laughing. I'm like, wait, this person's not even real. I have a lot of other type of clients I see too, like different kinds. Like I've had people from the Philippines, someone from Hong Kong, just all different ethnicities. So it's pretty cool. But mostly like Latinos are like, my main clientele.
Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. Like I said, I love sitting down with entrepreneurs and just amazing Latinas that are doing really, really cool things in their community. And ever since I started going to Natalia, I feel like my skin has cleared up a lot. But not only that, like I feel like you've been my coach and have like really kept me accountable with myself to making sure that I'm doing my monthly facials, making sure I'm staying on top of my routine. So I really, really credit like my whole skincare routine now to you, because even like my products I have in my bathroom and I still use them religiously, like the spot treatment that you gave me.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
Well, I'll go ahead and put all her links down below so you guys can go check her out, and let us know down below if you guys want a part 2.